So the question is, why does it take so long to get back to you when you have a deadline? And then when they do get back to you, they decide not to take the case because it's too complex for them. Or just say the truth, you don't want to get involved with a case like this. Need a person hanging knowing that you really don't want to take the case, just be straightforward.
We got this question in. This question comes in from Roderick, and the very first thing I could pick up on from this question was just the frustration. Just very clear frustration. This is someone who is clearly going out there and looking for help and feeling, you know, it, just getting the runaround. It's very hard to plan the work for your business, right? It's hard for you to budget the work for your business. It's hard to manage it if people aren't being honest about their interest in doing the work, if they're not getting back to you on time about whether they're willing to do the work for you. So I'm going to reframe the question slightly. If I were to say it a different way, what Roderick is asking is, how can I grow my business? Or let's put it like this, my reframe. How can growing businesses avoid frustration, the frustration of working with attorneys who are slow to respond when deadlines are looming, only to eventually decline representation? Put differently, what should businesses look for to ensure they're working with legal counsel who will be responsive and committed to their matters? I think this is such an important question. And I'll be honest with you, you've got to build those relationships before you need them. That is the number one game changer to help avoid frustration when it comes time where you need that attorney. When you need that attorney, that is the least advantageous time to go find them. You've got to be building up those relationships before you need to draw upon them. And building those relationships is a matter of so it's not a matter of just peppering people with questions and approaching it in a way where it feels like it's free advice that you're seeking, right? So how do you do that? How do you build up a relationship before you need it? Well, attorneys do a lot to put themselves out there. They do workshops like this, right? They offer workshops through community groups where maybe they appear on a panel and they're providing information on that panel. They go to networking events. A lot of times attorneys will say where they're going. You know, we're going to this award ceremony, or I'm part of this network, or I'm part of this group. And those are all opportunities to connect with attorneys that are in the same areas that you're in, that deal with that where you're part of their potential clientele, right? Signing up for their newsletters, if they have a newsletter, responding, letting them know how you feel about that newsletter, right? Attending those events, those workshops, connecting with them, talking to them at those live events. These are all opportunities to start establishing a relationship. And then you find incremental ways to build upon that last touch point, that last communication, right? But this is not about just asking for things, because you don't really like it when people just hit you up and start asking for things. Have you ever been on LinkedIn and you just get these incessant cold outreach from people where it seems like they want to connect with you, but the very next thing they do is they're trying to hit you up to have a exploration call, and then they want to pitch something to you, or they find your email and they're just suddenly emailing you saying, I have this great thing. There's no asking for permission. There's no getting consent. There's no real back and forth. It's not networking, right? So you want to make sure that you're truly building a relationship, a give and take. It makes it so much easier for when you need that help to go to them and say, hey, I'm looking for an attorney that does X, Y, and Z. They will let you know if they're interested. They will let you know if they're interested in helping you, whether it's by providing the help directly or if it's a matter of connecting you with someone else, right? I will, so that's the first thing. What do you do where you are now, right? If you're already in the stage where it's like, I need the help now, too late to build up that relationship in advance. That's great advice for if I had done things differently, but what do I do about my situation now? What I would say is I want to tell you a few like red and yellow flags that an attorney might have if you're reaching out to them. One, be careful of oversharing, right? If you give like a huge rundown of everything, it can make it feel like you're just, and look, this is not a knock on you. It's not saying that you're doing it wrong, but some people don't have the skills, right? They don't necessarily have the skills for being able to triage the information that comes in and responding in a certain way. So sometimes if they don't know you, that could be a turnoff. That could be a huge turnoff if they don't already know you, right? So if you do know them, you may want to remind them. You may want to remind them, hey, we met at such and just shorten it. Say, I'm looking for someone to help with X. Is this something that you do? Is this something that you know where someone else does it? Right? So those are some things to think about. You may want to tell them what your timeline is. I'm really looking for help by this time frame. Is that something that you think you can help with? Right? And usually they will be honest with you. They will tell you, I can't do it on that time frame, but we can get working on it by X time frame. You know, what is, they may even ask what's the driver behind that time frame. What will happen if you don't have it completed by then? To sort of test and see, is this an external issue where the consequences are outside of your control? Or is it something where it's really more about managing like that need to get something done now? Um, so I would say be careful of oversharing, be careful of being impatient, right? People have calendars, they have obligations. You wouldn't like it if you were a client and your attorney missed delivering something to you because they were chasing after a potential client. You wouldn't like that. You wouldn't like being treated like that. So you want to have at least a minimum level of patience around what it is that what you're asking for and what you're needing, particularly around business matters, right? And then the third is be flexible, right? It ties in very much with being impatient, but you don't want to be inflexible. If they say, I can't meet with you, but I have a team member who can have a conversation with you today, if you're insisting, no, I can only talk to X person, well, you're the one introducing barriers to getting help. So I don't really have more information than what was submitted by this person, but if any of this resonates for you, I hope it's going to help you. I think it will.